Saratoga Springs Resort in Orlando. But with that, I have two things I want to get out of the way first. The first is my Simple Modern water bottle with Minnie on it. Today I am polka dotted out, so I figured I would show off my water bottle once again and link to it below. My second shout out is to my friend Christy. She is a LuLaRoe consultant, and I saw this super adorable red polka dot dress on her site and I had to have it. I thought it would be perfect for Disney bounding in the parks, and I wanted to wear it for this video today because we are celebrating Christmas in July. It's super hot out, and of course I'm going to be talking about all of the places we stayed during December. So I figured I would just bring back the polka dots because I am obsessed with this dress. I think it's adorable, and anything Minnie Mouse polka dots I'm all about. So with that, to talk about Saratoga Springs, it is my home resort as a DVC member. For those of you that don't know, DVC stands for Disney Vacation Club, is the Disney timeshare property. So Saratoga Springs is my home resort, and I have fallen in love with it more and more over the years. In 2018, my boyfriend and I drove from Maine back to Colorado, and I made it a point of stopping in Saratoga Springs in New York because I wanted to see what exactly Disney they had taken from the actual Saratoga Springs in New York and brought down to the resort. And I just made me so happy to see all these things that I remember from Disney that I then saw in the real place. And I was like, they actually took all of this inspiration, and unless you've been there, you wouldn't really understand the carousel or the paddock or Congress Park or things like that. And then when you're there in New York and you're seeing it and you're like, now it all makes sense. It is definitely one of my favorite places on property. So one thing I will say about Saratoga Springs, it's definitely a lot more spread out than say the All-Star resorts or even like Port Orleans French Quarter, some of the smaller resorts. There's definitely more to do. There's different pools, there's different quick service, there's restaurants. You're also within walking distance of Disney Springs, so it's super convenient in that way. We stayed in a studio room in the paddock. We were actually kind of on the edge of the building. A couple things that make the DVC side of Disney different than staying at a normal resort. One being the housekeeping. So housekeeping only comes every 4 days instead of coming every single day. So you do kind of have to keep that in mind when you're going to be getting fresh towels or fresh amenities like coffee and things like that in your room. Of course, the room does come with fridge, microwave, like plates and glasses, things like that. I do like, and it's super convenient in the morning when you're getting ready, that the shower's in a separate area, so someone can be in there taking a shower, and then I can, then I'm out getting ready, doing my makeup, things like that. There is also a pull-out couch, so if you needed to sleep more than 2 people in that room, you certainly could. The one drawback to it being so big is that the transportation can be a bit of a nightmare, just depending on what your plans are. So I will link below to when Disney transportation fails you, because that has definitely been, as much as I love Disney and as much as I love Disney buses and how convenient they are, sometimes your plans have to be flexible around where transportation is and where how convenient it is to what you're trying to do. Buses don't necessarily run super early in the morning for dining reservations. They do technically, but if you're trying to get somewhere specific, or especially if you're trying to get somewhere that's a different resort and not a park, it is definitely takes a little bit more maneuvering and a little bit more time if you're trying to take the bus system to do that, instead of just taking an Uber or a Lyft or a minivan. We, for breakfast reservations, usually do end up taking a cab or a minivan, Lyft, something to get us to a different resort, just because it cuts down on the time instead of taking a bus to a park and then having to wait for the bus from the other resort to get to the park and then get on that bus and get to another resort. It is much more convenient now that they have on the app, they actually have the bus tracking to tell you when the next bus is showing up. And because of where we were in the system of Saratoga, when we would see a bus was arriving at the grandstand, which is the first drop off, and we were at the third drop off, we had time to then say, okay, we got to leave right now in order to make it to the bus stop in order to hit our bus. And we were actually it worked out where we could either hit the Paddock or Congress Park bus stops. Just if we needed that extra couple minutes, we could go down the Congress Park one and be just fine. So other than that, I love staying at Saratoga Springs. It's definitely one of my favorite places on Disney property. It's definitely a place that I love staying at. Since this is Christmas in July, we actually stayed there in December 2019 for my parents' 45th wedding anniversary, which takes place in December. So of course we were there during the holiday season, so we got to see a lot of Christmas trees, a lot of gingerbread houses, and the Christmas tree trail at Disney Springs, which is a new feature that they've just been doing for the past couple of years since rerouting the bus system to a different bus drop-off. Back in 2017, I was actually there on vacation during Hurricane Irma. We ended up staying at Saratoga Springs for a couple extra days. Disney was awesome about that, so Saratoga definitely has a special place in my heart because it is where I lived out my first hurricane. So with that, you guys will definitely get tired of me talking about Saratoga Springs because I do stay there so often and I do love it so very, very much. And with that, please subscribe to my channel, hit that button down below. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can always find me on my website at travelingnorthagency.com. That's where you can find travel inspiration, suppliers I work with, of course, Disney, all things Disney. You can email me at bookit@travelingnorthagency.com to be added to my client list. And of course, on my website, you can also find all of the small businesses that I support, including Christy's store, that also includes referral links and discount codes. So with that, I hope you're all doing well. And until next time, safe travels. And then, of course, I don't really know what else to say. You can always email me to be added to my client list. Blah, blah. I feel like I should have done this like this whole time.